This is Steve with Rocky Mountain ATV MC, and today I'm going to show you how to replace the clutch on a Yamaha Warrior. No matter what riding conditions you ride in, clutches take abuse and will eventually need to be replaced. Now, if you have such symptoms as clutch chatter or maybe clutch slippage, or you just don't feel that it's working correctly, you definitely should inspect it. Now, Yamaha recommends inspecting it every 6 months and replace it if necessary. So today I'm going to show you how to inspect and replace a clutch on this 1996 Yamaha Warrior. Now, these procedures will be very similar on all Yamaha Warriors, but you need to check with your OEM service manual to be sure. To do this job, you'll need some basic hand tools, a torque wrench, clutch holding tool, rags, gloves, and safety glasses, along with a copy of your OEM service manual for more information, proper procedures, and specs. We are using the Tusk Competition Clutch Kit that you can get on our website. You will also need a clutch cover gasket. Now, we've propped the machine up like this so that we don't have to drain the oil to do this job. Yamaha recommends changing your oil when you change your clutch out, but we just changed it yesterday, so it's kind of unnecessary. If you need help draining the oil, make sure to check out our oil change video for more information. Next, we need to remove the foot peg and get it out of the way so we can pull the cover off. Now let's back off our clutch cable adjustment. This would also be a good time to lube and service the cable. We have a good video on that you can check out. Next, we need to loosen the clutch cable adjuster and remove the cable from the clutch arm. Now let's remove the clutch cover bolts using a quarter turn to break them loose in a crisscross pattern, and then we will remove them all. Now let's remove the cover. If you grab the clutch arm and actuate it, it helps it come off easier. Now make sure when you're removing it to get the dowel pins. Now let's remove the old gasket and clean both gasket surfaces. Now these can be pretty stubborn to remove. A razor blade works pretty well, but just be very careful. Now remove the push rod and bearing. Now let's remove the pressure plate bolts. We'll break them loose using a quarter turn, then we will back them all off in a crisscross pattern evenly. Now let's remove the clutch springs. Now we need to remove this center nut, but first we need to bend this metal flange over so that we can remove it. We'll just use a hammer and a punch. Now let's use our clutch holding tool and a buddy. If you don't have a buddy, call your mom, and let's break this nut loose. Now let's remove the clutch boss, also known as a hub. And now let's remove the clutch pack. Keep these together so that when you reinstall your new clutch, you can put it in the same way that you pulled it out. Next, we'll pull out the inner pressure plate. Now I've got the clutch pack laid out here. Now I've pulled out the two cushion springs. They're also known as judder springs, but basically it's a wave-like spring that allows the clutch pack to engage and disengage a lot smoother. So we're going to need to pull these out of the old pack and install them in the new clutch pack. It's possible that some aftermarket kits may require you to leave out the cushion or judder spring, but you should always refer to your specific instructions or manufacturer specifications. Now what else you want to look for on the steel plates is hot spots, discoloration, and then you want to see if they're warped at all, so you can lay them on a flat surface and use a feeler gauge to stick underneath them. But usually if they have any discoloration, they're warped. As far as the fiber plate goes, you can measure the overall thickness with a caliper. There's a spec in your manual that will tell you what that needs to be within. Also look for chunking from the material or any major discoloration as well. Now you can see with this clutch pack, a lot of the plates have hot spots. The fiber plates are pretty thin in material, and so we're going to go ahead and replace it with this new Tusk kit. Now we also want to inspect the clutch basket and the boss hub for grooving. Now if these grooves get too deep, what happens is the plates won't disengage and engage smoothly, which will imitate a very difficult clutch pull from the lever. So if these are bad enough, you'll need to go ahead and replace those. Ours are in pretty good shape, so let's go ahead and install our new clutch pack. We have gone ahead and soaked our new Tusk Competition Clutch Kit in oil overnight so that we can install it today. Now in the boss assembly there's a directional arrow. Now if you look on the inner pressure plate, there is one there as well. Now these need to line up with each other, meaning if you have it rotated, the back right here will not fit into itself. So those need to be lined up for it to work correctly. Now on your fiber plates, one plate is slightly thicker this way and the rest of them will be a little bit thinner. So this is the first plate that you need to start with when we install it on our clutch or on our boss assembly. Now with the steel plates, they can go either direction, but if you feel on the outer edge of it, one side is sharp and one side is round. You just need to make sure that all of your steel plates are facing in the same direction, meaning all the round edges are on one side. Now we'll just alternate our fiber plates with our steel plates. Now on the third fiber plate, that's where we're going to stick our cushion ring in. Now you can see it fits directly right inside of the fiber plate. Now on the fifth fiber plate, we'll put the next cushion spring in. Now we want to kind of line up all of our fiber plates together like that. Now we'll install the inner pressure plate. Again, make sure that your arrows are lined up. Now we want to install it into the clutch basket. To make this install a lot easier, grab two of the springs and bolts and go ahead and thread them in. This will hold the clutch pack together while we do the install. Now you might need to rotate it and wiggle it in, but just make sure you line up the plates and just work it on. Now you can remove the spring and bolts. Now Yamaha recommends replacing the lock washer, but if the lock washer and nut are in good shape, it's possible to go ahead and reuse them. Now you just need to line up that with the hub inner. Now let's go ahead and install our clutch boss nut. Now let's torque it to 58 foot-pounds. Next, grab some pliers and bend the lock washer against the nut. Now let's install our new Tusk clutch springs along with our outer plate and screws and torque them to 7.2 foot-pounds. Now we want to tighten all these down incrementally in a crisscross pattern. Now let's install our push rod and bearing. Now let's install the dowel pins and gasket. Now let's install the clutch cover. Next, let's install all the fasteners and torque them to 7.2 foot-pounds in a crisscross pattern. Now let's reinstall the clutch cable. Now let's reinstall the brake lever and foot peg. Next, we need to adjust the clutch lever FreePlay. Now we need to back off the adjuster so that we have 5 to 10 millimeters of FreePlay at the very end of the lever. So go ahead and back that out until you get the right amount. Then we'll go ahead and tighten up the adjuster lock so that it doesn't move. And that's it. That's all there is to replacing the clutch on a Yamaha Warrior. Come check us out at RockyMountainATVMC.com for more parts, apparel, and accessories, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. This is Steve. We'll catch you next time.